I'm James Chirillo, and when Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra needs to add guitar, they usually call me. So I'm going to talk a bit today about what the function of a guitar player is in a big band in these older styles of jazz and how to do it. Now, the music of the day, we're talking about that older swing style of music personified by Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Jimmy Lunceford. There's countless bands. Benny Goodman. I was lucky enough to play with Benny Goodman. That was the music of the day. It was music for dancing. So the main thing is to keep in mind, for a guitar player, you're playing rhythm and you're playing the beat. Now, a lot of times nowadays people think, I need to practice with that feeling, that 2 and 4. But in order to get a really good sense of rhythm, you want to hone in on 1 and 3. If your 1 and 3 is in the wrong spot, 2 and 4 are certainly going to be in the wrong spot. And you got to figure those are the beats, 1 and 3. People shift their weight while they're dancing. So when we're playing rhythm, yeah, we can accentuate 2 and 4 a bit, but we're feeling that 1 and 3. And just like we're feathering, just like with the bass player, the drummer's bass drum, and we're right in there with the bass. If the bass player's in 4, I play more of an even 4. Bass player's in 2, I can lighten up on my beats 1 and 3 and just sort of fill in 2 and 4 a bit more. But the point to keep in mind is we're playing rhythm guitar, and it's music for dancing, and we really lock into beats 1 and 3. Now specifically, what do we play? What we're doing is we're playing a tenor harmony line to the bass player's bass line. On the guitar, the 4th string is your string of choice for playing rhythm. Just that one string alone is, like as Bucky Pizzarelli likes to say, that's all the band needs to hear. Freddie Green, the great rhythm guitar player with the Count Basie band for so many years, he honed it down to a science. So when Freddie first started playing with the Basie band, we're talking in the mid-late 30s, that band had only 5 brass and 4 saxophones. Dynamically, it was a lot softer. The music back then was a lot softer than what we're used to playing now. And so, you hear him on early recordings, you can tell he's hitting more like 3 notes, maybe even once in a while a 4-note chord. And the 3-note rhythm chord and the 4-note rhythm chord are based off the same form on the guitar. They're called drop 3 forms. So the drop 3 forms, you look at them like this. Chords are built in thirds, and in any 4-note chord, for instance, let's pick G7. So we have G, the root, B the 3rd, D the 5th, F is the 7th. Now, when we put those notes on the staff right in order like that, in thirds, G, B, D, F, that's called a close or block position voicing. Voicing it's just the spread, how far apart the notes in the chord are spread. So this spread is as close as they can go. It's just built right up in order. We have drop 2s, we have drop 3s, we have drop 2 plus 4s, and all we do is we take the 2nd note down from our melody note, from our top note, and we lower that note 1 octave. So in the G7 chord I just mentioned, F's our melody, the next note down is the D. If we drop that D down 1 octave and leave all the other notes the same, then we end up with D down below, G, B, and F. So that's a drop 2. And you can do that with all your 4-note chords and learn all the forms like that. And down here. Those are all drop 2 forms. But the drop 3s are the basis for most of your rhythm playing. So we take the 3rd note down. So given our F melody, D is the 2nd note down, B is the 3rd note. We drop that B an octave. All the notes remaining the same. We have F in the melody. We have D. We skip the B. We go down to our G. And now we have B in the bass. So as you noticed, the drop 2s are on 4 adjacent strings. All your drop 2s, that's how far they're spread. They're always going to be on 4 adjacent strings. The drop 3s, we've got 3 notes on those inside strings, then we skip a string, and then we have our bass note. All your drop 3s are going to be on 3 adjacent strings, skip a string, then your bass note. So this form you actually can play on, you have 2 possible sets of strings on the guitar you can play this on. Play these forms on. But the best ones are the ones where the bass note's on the 6th string, and we have those inside 4th and 3rd string, and the top note is on the 2nd string. So for playing in a smaller size ensemble, sometimes it makes sense to do these. Some of the older styles, some of the older arrangements, say of Duke Ellington, something like maybe even Jack the Bear. It's basically a bass feature. I remember there's a part in there where the trombones are just going back and forth, and the best thing that for me supports the band is to do exactly that. So I'm just doing that triad. But when we have a full ensemble, and this is exactly what Freddie Green, as he developed in his career, bass, he added 8 brass. He ended up with 2 more brass players, or 3 more brass players, and added full-time 5th saxophone in the sax section. That gives that band a lot more body, a lot more possible volume and tone. And Freddie found you simply don't need to play on those first couple of strings ever. When you got that much going on, you're focusing in on that tenor harmony line to the bass player's bass line. So he would just play. He wouldn't bother with that bass note anymore. He'd just focus on that inside 4th string. So say on a blues in F, just like 1 o'clock jump would start, blues in F. Now you can hear him on that older recording. He's playing a couple of notes. So I'm playing on those inside 2 strings, right off of my drop 3 forms, F7. But I'm not even bothering with this string, the 2nd, nor the 6th string, the bass note. Just that inside couple of strings. And just to make it a little different and to keep things moving forward, once in a while, you don't play both notes, you just play one. So. That's one string all the way. So that's blues in F, mainly just on that one string. Once in a while I threw in that 3rd string also. And you notice I'm focusing in on the 3rds and the 7ths of the chord. And you can also see I'm not just staying, say, on F7 4 beats or 8 beats. I'm moving my note around, little chromatic approaches, just like the bass player does with his line. So when the bass player approaches his F, say something like that, and it's just a natural thing. On the strong beat of the bar, that's when I really lay for my basic note of that chord, that third or that seventh. And it just flows right in there with what the bass player is doing. And that way you're not getting into the way of any of the harmony. You're staying out of the way of the soloist. You're staying out of the way of the piano player. So, and the whole thing is a tenor harmony line to the bass player's bass line. The only other thing I'd like to say about that is if you've studied any of the Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach chorales, those are all written in 4 voices: bass, tenor, alto, and soprano. Well, if you look at those things, Freddie probably studied these. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know for a fact. I wouldn't be surprised. But as that melody is moving stepwise, or the bass line is moving stepwise, usually in contrary motion, they're going like this, that tenor line is usually doing exactly what Freddie played, which is stay on, you repeat that note before you move. You play each note twice. Just like that. You look at the Bach chorales, 80% of the time that tenor line is going bop, 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 bop. And because you're just outlining that basic sonority of the harmony. So, you stay out of the way of the bass player, you stay out of the way of the piano player, everybody's happy.